Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Morning Grind. This is Steve with Coffee N KOs. It is Tuesday, February 2nd, and we are just a few days away from our main event coming up on Saturday night. That's headlined by Alexander Volkov taking on Alistair Overeem. Also, the co-main event, that's going to be Frankie Edgar taking on Cory Sandhagen. So, huge fights coming up this weekend, flying under the radar. I definitely wanted to touch upon basically what's on the line for some of these fighters going into this weekend, and we can start right with Frankie Edgar. So, Frankie Edgar, there's not much to say about this guy that you don't already know. Like, he's 39 years old, absolute legend of the UFC. He's an ex-lightweight champion at 155. He even fought for the 145 belt at one point. Now he's even dropping down lower to the 135 division. There was a lot of question marks going into how that would look for him with the weight cut and everything, but he took on Pedro Munhoz last year in his bantamweight debut. Looked really good, got the split decision win. He was a pretty big underdog in that one, so it was really nice to see Frankie Edgar at 39 years old kind of turn a small corner here. He is 2-3 in his last five. He's faced a ton of very difficult competition, but getting that win over Pedro Munhoz definitely says that he is legit at 135. But he's going to get a really difficult opponent in Cory Sandhagen, who's currently your number 2 ranked fighter in the bantamweight division. So Cory Sandhagen, we'll talk about him. 6-1 in the UFC. Awesome start to his UFC career. Obviously, that one loss came to Aljamain Sterling not too long ago. Both of these guys kind of built up their resumes. Whoever won that fight was going to get the next title shot. Aljamain Sterling went in there, got the backpack submission in early round 1, so that was really tough for him. But outside of that, Cory Sandhagen has looked absolutely okay. He holds wins over Rafael Assunção. Most recently, he's coming off a win over Marlon Moraes. That was a nice TKO win that he got there. So obviously, Moraes was very highly ranked. He just fought for the belt not too long ago. So we know Cory Sandhagen's legit. This is going to be really tough for Frankie Edgar stylistically, and obviously in the size department. Cory Sandhagen's 5'11", has a ton of reach. Frankie Edgar is the shorter fighter. He's about 5'6", has the shorter reach there. So Cory Sandhagen gets this win. I think you definitely say that he is your next guy up without a doubt, no questions asked. He'll get the title shot next. If Frankie Edgar goes out there, gets this win, I still think he has probably one more fight to prove that he deserves to actually get that title shot. We have Jose Aldo, who's just coming off a big win over Marlon Vera. We also have Cody Garbrandt. So Cody Garbrandt and Jose Aldo are going to fight. So I'd probably would wager that one of those guys, whoever wins that, will probably fight Frankie Edgar next if that were to be the case. But if Cory Sandhagen gets the win here, he's a clear-cut guy. He's going to get the next title shot. So now we go into the main event here, which is Volkov taking on Overeem. We'll start with Volkov. Volkov is a very tough competitor in this division. He is 6'7", holds a lot of reach. He fights kind of like a funky karate style, but also I think he holds a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So very well-rounded fighter in the heavyweight division. He's 3-2 in his last 5, holds wins over guys like Fabricio Verdum. He recently defeated Greg Hardy, Walt Harris. So some of those guys are kind of like middle of the road pack. Yes, they're definitely solid competition that earns you the right to be within the top 15, but that's not really going to get you to the title shot. We've seen in his 2 losses that he has recently, one of those to Derek Lewis, a top 5 guy, one of those to Curtis Blades, another top 5 guy. So it's obvious that he's kind of fell when it comes to the greater competition, but I think he's still capable of doing it, because when you look at the Derek Lewis fight, that's a fight that he's winning pretty much all 5 rounds, happens to get caught at the end there in the final seconds. So he definitely deserves to be in that consideration. But Overeem's not going to be an easy challenge for him. I feel like Volkov sometimes kind of folds under the pressure. So if Overeem's able to get within the distance, work his ground and pound in, that's where he's going to have the advantage. But if Volkov goes out there, gets this win, he's definitely now going to be like a fringe top 5 guy. I still think he has a ways to go if he wants to ever hold the belt. But this is definitely a great place to start, because Alistair Overeem has just been on an absolute tear recently. This guy's done everything. He's 40 years old. He has over 60 pro fights. He's a former Strikeforce champion, former K1 kickboxing champion, transitions into the UFC, has a lot of success there, eventually climbs the ranks, gets the title shot against Stipe Miocic. Unfortunately, he did drop that fight in round 1. That was tough for him. But that's really the only thing in his career that he hasn't done is hold UFC gold. That is his only goal right now. He said that if he eventually gets that shot, if he wins it, gets the belt, he'll just retire, because that's just all it is for him. It's just do or die. He needs to win that belt. So 4-1 in his last 5. couple of the middle of the road guys. He's defeated Alexei Oleinik. He's defeated Walt Harris as well. And then just recently he defeated Augusto Sakai, who's a tough up and coming guy. But again, his lone loss in his last 5 fights is to Rosenstrike, who's a top 5 guy. But it's the same story as Volkov with Derek Lewis. That's a fight Overeem's winning throughout the 5 rounds, and then he just happens to get caught in that final second. And that was the one that kind of busted his lip, his mouth wide open, super gnarly fight. But that's just kind of how it goes in the heavyweight division sometimes. But he's definitely 4-1 in his last 5. That's very incredible. If he had beaten Rosenstrike, that's now 5 in a row that you're talking about. So if he gets this win over Volkov, that's definitely going to be his biggest win on his resume in the recent past. So this again would probably catapult him into the top 5. I think we're going to see Cyril Gane take on Rosenstrike. I think we have Curtis Blades taking on Derek Lewis soon. So there's definitely going to be a big change up in the rankings here. So Overeem, if he gets this, I think he still needs one more win over a top 5 guy if he is going to get that title shot in the near future. But as of right now, you have Francis and Stipe going at it. John Jones is on his way up, so it gets a little bit saturated. Time is unfortunately not on Overeem's side, but we'll see what he can get done. Volkov will definitely be an awesome win to add to his resume. So be sure to check this one out. I think it's going to be an 8 p.m. start time on ESPN or ESPN Plus. And then we're going to go live, the Coffee N KOs crew. That's going to be right after the main event. And you can check us out on the Fight Bananas page. That's either going to be on YouTube Live or Facebook Live. So make sure to give them a follow. Give us a follow at Coffee N KOs 1. And we'll see you next time.